Man, a drunk Romine is a depressed Romine. He's a Debbie Downer. Cries.
Cries.
Wah, wah, wah.
What's up, guys? It's the Four Horsemen Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Josh Romine. With me tonight, I have all the regulars. I got Josh Van Cleef. How are you, Joshua?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Awesome. Doing well. Got Brent Ocker. How are you, sir?
Good.
Excellent. And we also have old Alex Deviney Stoner. How are you, Alex?
I love how your diction has vastly improved since we hit start. Hello, Brent Ocker. How are you doing today?
Listen, my diction is fantastic. What can I say? I speak well.
It's going to fall apart any minute.
Nah, I'm very well educated, and I feel supreme. I feel great. So tonight we're talking some booms or busts. I guess that's where we're going with this whole thing. So,
wait. You're already off to a rough start.
No, tell me, why am I off to a rough start?
The booms or busts. This is how we're talking about. The players that are busting are those top of the draft. The guys that are booming are the bottom end of the draft. So it's not necessarily. It's like we're not saying that. Yeah, Antonio Brown. Yeah. We know he's awesome.
Bust.
Well, I mean,
yeah, are you saying
that thought?
Antonio Brown is busting?
We're also talking about maybe backing it up with a little history. I don't know if you guys did that or not. I did. I'm backing up my thought process with some past situations.
Sure. Well, we have years and years of fancy data to go off of. So, Alex, you know what? You seem super prepared. Why don't you go ahead and start us off?
I am jacked up. One guy I'm not super jacked up about. His ADP is right around the middle of the third round. So, if you're going after a couple of guys, he might be your number one wide receiver, and that's going to be Davante Adams. Green Bay has not had a great track record of having a number two wide receiver be consistent. As a matter of fact, you have to go a decade or more to find a number two that had back-to-back years with over 1,000 yards. Now, Davante Adams was 3 yards shy of that last year, but still, I'm looking at guys like Randall Cobb in 2015. People were drafting him right around wide receiver 8, which is a little ahead of where Davante Adams is going, but I think that the thought process is still there, that you're looking for, over 1,000 yards, maybe 7 or 8 touchdowns. But that season, Randall Cobb actually ended up finishing wide receiver 28, and that's far lower than what you were drafting. I mean, Randall Cobb was going in as early as the top of the second round, middle of the second round, so about a round earlier. My biggest concern is just that there are a lot of mouths to feed in Green Bay, and I don't see him as a consistent player. He was kind of a boomer bust guy even during the season anyway. So I'm looking at him, because where he's falling, I typically draft running backs right away. So he's a guy that's going to be right in my eye line for getting my first wide receiver. And honestly, I think he's somebody that you should avoid.
And, well, I mean, Green Bay wide receivers, I feel like in years past, since they've had Aaron Rodgers, you can have a sustainable wide receiver 2 option in that offense. I understand the consistency factor you're talking about and completely agree, but James Jones was fantasy relevant because of touchdowns. Davante Adams had his games. I mean, he was really, really good in a lot of games last year. But like you said, he wasn't consistent. So I do still think there is upside to the number 2 wide receiver in Green Bay as well.
Well, my point is not so much that he will be bad. It's just I don't see him finishing where he's being drafted. I don't think that you're getting a good value there. I think you're getting a guy that will probably finish at maybe at best like a 5th-round draft choice. I just think he's going too high.
So
I can agree with that.
Well, in our last mock, Alex, you took him in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you don't think there's?
No, I'm
you don't
not.
think
I'm
there's-
not thrilled.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're
Kept
fine.
talking
You
at
want
the
to
same
talk?
time.
Go
I
ahead.
was just saying that I wasn't thrilled with that. But go ahead. What was your question?
Where do you think you'd rather take Devontae Adams?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is you don't think there's any possible way he returns 3rd round value?
I'm not saying that there's no way he could. I'm just saying if you look at history of Green Bay, usually year in, year out, you don't get a consistent number 2. And it's because of that. Like even Randall Cobb, didn't return back-to-back years where he put up 1,000 yards. So it's just concerning to me that I'm looking at a guy that, almost hit 1,000 yards, was really close. So I'm basically kind of rounding him up to 1,000 yards. I don't think that he puts up 1,000 yards this season simply because there's just too much going on there. They still don't have a good running game, so we're still trying to figure that out. Now, maybe if they get a good consistent running game, maybe they focus in their passing attack. But it's a little bit similar to New Orleans. I just don't trust a lot of wide receivers in those kinds of offenses.
All right. I guess that's fair. Honestly, it's not really been proven. Like you said, look back at history. You see a lot of number 2s that have good seasons and then fall off. So
Yeah.
Devontae Adams is being people reaching up there, grabbing him in the 3rd, 4th round, and at that point, when you are already so invested in your running backs, he's normally your number 1 wide receiver. If not your number 1, he's your number 2. You're definitely relying on him to start in your fantasy leagues. So I get it. Van Cleef, you got somebody that's jumping out at you?
I would say Jordan Howard.
Tell me more.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a bust for where people are taking him. People are taking him late 1st round in most mock drafts. It just scares me of where he's going. And I don't have to look back very far, but Todd Gurley. If you look at Todd Gurley's sophomore year, now Todd Gurley I think has more talent than Jordan Howard. But what I'm seeing is the teams. Look at how bad the Bears are. They didn't really put much around him. They really kind of stripped their wide receivers. They brought in who? You know what I'm saying? So, and they brought in they have Mike Glennon. They signed who is his first year here with the offense coordinator. So, so when you're really looking at the team wise, they're going to be they're not a great team. They're going to be in passing downs all the time, and so you kind of worry that it's going to they're going to be passing more because they're going to be behind in games. They're going to be stacking the box because that passing game is not going to be very good, and so it just kind of worries me that what situation Jordan Howard's in, that he's not going to be able to run the ball very effectively because he's got to be against a stacked box.
Yeah, that's actually, honestly, that's one of my biggest concerns about Jordan Howard is the exact situation you're talking about. You're looking at like how things were for Todd Gurley. You know, the one thing I will say, though, is that last year at least, even when they were down in games, they were still running the ball because he was basically all they had. He was their offense, especially the second half of the season. He was their offense. So, you know, you're hoping that they still use him a lot, but I completely understand where you're coming from. And he does scare me. And he was a candidate to put on here as well because you just don't know, you know, with how rough that team looks, you don't know about that running game, like how it's going to fare.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and like clearly you saw, like you said, Bankley, you saw Todd Gurley last year completely flounder and hurt a lot of fantasy teams. You can't help but to make that comparison between Jordan Howard and Todd Gurley.
There's similar situations because, I mean, I feel Todd Gurley has more talent. He had more talent coming out of college, and you saw from his first year how he exploded onto the scene. But then with the situations that they're in, of the talentless teams that they're on, it just scares you going forward, drafting him that high that he's not going to have a high of a return on investment as you got with him. So to me, I think that he's going to get the ball. I think that he can be a serviceable running back. It just scares me how high he's being drafted and what you're wanting to get out of him.
Yeah. I mean, I know you guys are worried, but I still think that Jordan Howard in that offense, he's the most talented player that Chicago has. Like, is Cam Meredith more talented? He's clearly the most talented player that they have. He's going to be successful. Even if they have to run him in the ground, the only thing I worry about is that Chicago comes out and completely falls on their butts, and he ends up kind of Todd Gurley-esque.
Yeah.
But I don't think that you have to feel bad drafting him like at the end of the first round, beginning of the second round, because that's kind of where he's going, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where he's going.
Like Todd Gurley last year was going top 3. That's the only thing I'm saying. Like I almost feel like we've built in that little bit of a expectation that he may not be.
I guess you are right, because you think about it. If you're drafting him at 10, 11, 12, you can swing by and you can get that other guy like a Melvin Gordon or something along those lines, where you can kind of you have 2 guys. So if one of them falls off, hopefully some of your other players can pick it up. Whereas last year you were taking them probably 1 or 2, more likely than not. And so, you had to wait until it came all the way back around. And that's always a scary thought. Like if that first pick doesn't pan out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're drafting Jordan Howard at number 3 right now, how good would you feel about your team?
I'd feel terrible.
Oh, you feel horrible.
Yeah.
But like you said, Alex, if you're drafting him in like the 11th or the 12th pick and then turning and getting another guy like a Melvin Gordon or Jay Ajayi, somebody like that, like you feel a lot better about it. So Brent,
I don't think I would own Jordan Howard this year at all, honestly, because I just like other guys better than him. I like DeMarco Murray. I like Jay Ajayi. I like Melvin Gordon, all these guys better than Jordan Howard because of those fears and because of that terrible offense in Chicago. And I don't think he'll last around to the back end of that, the very beginning of the second round. I don't think he's going to last to that turn to me if he comes back around.
Right. You're right.
I just don't think I'm going to own him in any league this year because of that reason. That's just where I rank him, though. So
I would have a really hard time taking him at the beginning of the second, but if he fell a little bit, I don't see him slipping past the middle of the second round.
No.
Here's the thing, though. I think he's going before the turn.
Oh yeah.
So
he is.
So I don't think you can get him. And are you going to be able to get a decent running back on the way back through? That's going to make just in case that he does make that slip. Devontae Freeman, I think you can maybe able to get. Who else? Todd Gurley, you can probably possibly get.
Would you take those guys over Jordan Howard then, Josh?
I would take Todd Gurley over Jordan Howard. Yes.
Oh.
Because of how it works. If you go on talent-wise versus talent-wise in the team, I would say yes. I would take Todd Gurley.
But the problem is that Jordan Howard at least is it can be in the passing game. You're not getting any. Todd Gurley is not that much a power to the passing game. I mean,
it's a whole new system here.
He to me, Gurley is an AP, whereas Jordan Howard is a Matt Forte. Like that. That's just kind of. I don't know. I don't think
Jordan Howard's more
and more receptions than Jordan Howard by any stretch.
You guys want to make a bet? Todd Gurley versus Jordan Howard. There you go, right there. You two have a bet.
Yeah, guys, put it on the board.
We'll figure it out.
Let's do this.
Like everybody's going to end up. It's going to be that everybody ends up buying dinner for somebody else, so it ends up being a wash.
I'm great with that because at least I don't lose in that situation. Somebody else loses too. I'm okay with it.
What do you want to put on it, Alex? Dinner again?
I mean,
No, dinner. It's what it is.
I'll do dinner.
All right.
I'm
All
fine
right. So
with
then,
that.
what's the parameters of this?
Is it
Todd Gurley outscores Jordan Howard in fantasy points
well?
for
I
the
mean,
2017 season.
but that's
to make
not,
it since Van
I mean, my
Cleve, or
argument
since
though
Alex.
is more that he's more in the passing game. Like,
Okay, so make it a half-point PPR.
yes.
Because Alex, you're arguing for the standard side of Gurley, and that Howard has more PPR value. So just make it dead even, and half in the middle,
okay,
half point.
Hold on, I got to
Todd
make it.
Gurley will finish higher in half-point PPR leagues than Jordan Howard in the 2017 year.
Okay,
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board. That's what I'm talking about. Good job, guys. Yes, somebody else is going to have to be buying dinner this year than me. And I love that.
No, probably not.
Alex,
probably
no.
not.
Alex
You're
will
probably
buy
right.
us both dinners.
I hope so.
Okay, first off,
That's the best thing you said all year, Van Cleve.
Van Cleve, first off, is there a chance that I lose the bet that we did? Absolutely. Is there a chance that I lose to Romine? Absolutely not.
Yes, there
Oh,
is.
snap.
Absolutely not.
There absolutely is. All right.
If Romine shows them love, then it's all over.
No, it's not true. Let's talk about somebody else. Brent, do you got somebody that's jumping out at you?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of turn it in the opposite direction, though. Marshawn Lynch, I actually think he's going too low. I think he should be drafted higher. And I'm going to compare this similarly to Ricky Williams back when he retired and came back and actually was fantasy relevant and became like a running back one.
This is. Can I start anew?
Look, you have the arguments. The guy's old. He's been out of football. He's been injury plagued. This guy is coming into an offense that is going to be high powered. They have multiple wide receivers that can score. They have one of the best offensive lines. They have a top rated quarterback. Why can't this guy succeed? Why can't this guy have this huge upside that some of these other running backs do? He's good in the passing game. He's clearly a tackle breaker.
But he already had that situation. He had that situation, and he wasn't. His
against a terrible, with a terrible
off.
offensive line in Seattle.
Yeah, Alex, it was terrible.
I'm telling you, I think Marshawn Lynch should be drafted higher.
But
how much higher?
Like fifth? Is he going in the fifth?
He went in the fourth in our round, right?
Yeah, I took him in the fourth. I think he's been going later than what I've been taking him, but.
So where do you think he should go?
I think he could go easily in the third round. I could take him in the third round if a lot of those running backs are gone already.
Who are you taking him?
A top running back. I am comfortable with Marshawn Lynch as my running back one.
Yeah, who are you drafting him over, though?
Who am I drafting him over?
Yep. If you're taking him in the third round, obviously drafting him over some talent.
Let me pull it up here.
Are you going to take him over, like, are you going to draft him over Allen Robinson?
In standard, I probably would.
PPR.
It's pretty close. I'd probably take Allen Robinson there.
Are you going to take him over Robert Gronkowski?
Nope, I still go Gronk there in the third round.
Mm-hmm.
I would take him close. I would probably take him over Joe Mixon.
Yeah. Crowell.
I would take him over Sammy Watkins and Brandon Cooks. I would take him over Keenan Allen, Terrell Pryor, Devontae Adams.
I mean,
I get it.
I would take him over McCaffrey. I would take him over C.J. Anderson.
but we're also just talking about redrafts right now.
Right. Not Dynasty.
There's.
Oh well, Dynasty, it's different. I mean,
Well, okay, but that's what I'm just saying.
in
that's
in
what
standard
you're
redrafts. I
talking
mean,
about.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just like.
What is your concern? Because I know he's old.
Okay, but here's the thing: is that I drafted him his last season. I drafted him accidentally because it auto drafted my first pick in one of my leagues, and it was a disaster. And I don't think that he has gotten better. And even though the situation is good, I still think that he'll have competition from the younger guys that are not rookies anymore. They're more explosive. I think that when it all pans out, that the Raiders will have a very frustrating running back situation by season's end. And I would not want to pay a third-round pick for that.
I don't know, because their two backup running backs, their two running backs didn't impress last year.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So who's going to beat out Marshawn Lynch? Is the guy even on the Raiders right now?
I'm not saying that necessarily he gets beat out. What I'm saying is it possible that he only runs for 800, 900 yards and the other two run for 400 apiece, 500 apiece? I think that's completely possible. And I think that's where my concern comes in, because I don't know what he's capable of at his age, a year out of football, offset by the fact that he has a better offensive line and the opportunity is good. And I think that's the problem. I don't feel comfortable drafting him that high because I don't know what those two things look like. I know what he looked like in Seattle at the end of his initial career. And I know what is possible with the offensive line in Oakland. I just don't know what that really means. And I'm concerned that it will mean under 1,000 yards because they'll just feed the ball to everybody that can run.
The risk is real, sure. I just think the opportunity and there's good upside with that Raiders offense. So I guess I'm more than comfortable doing it.
To me, it depends on who you have. Like if
yeah, and I agree.
I mean, if you have two stud wide receivers, you said that you would be okay with them with as an RB1. If you have Antonio Brown, and I don't even know if this is possible. If you have Antonio Brown and then Hopkins, I don't know who would be like. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it'd be right around that range.
Hopkins, maybe I would be okay with that, but I would be
because the players that you get,
I would be loading up on running back because I would be concerned with my
because that risk is there. Yeah. I think you'd have to, yes.
But at the same time, I don't disagree with what he's capable of. I don't disagree with who you had him above, because a lot of those guys that you named, I have questions about and concerns about just as equally. So, I mean, it's one of those things that initially, like, I scoff, and I'm still kind of like, I don't think that I will own him because I won't be willing to go up and get him that early. But I understand. Like, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Latavius Murray had 12 touchdowns last year rushing. Do you think it's in the realm of possibility Marshawn Lynch can get 8 to 10?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's very possible in that offense because they are going to be in a lot of scoring opportunities down there in the red zone. And beast mode, I think he can still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you, Brent, on that. Alex, you took Spencer Ware over Marshawn Lynch in our last mock draft.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Like I said, I am just not all those running backs around that area. I'm just not super excited about. Like I'm just not. I think
so. If you were to redo it now, do you think you'd consider Marshawn Lynch over Spencer Ware?
Here's the thing about Spencer Ware is that the stars are kind of aligning for Spencer Ware, similar to how it was for Devontae Freeman. Like, he was given his opportunity, didn't really show a whole lot, even though, like, the year previous, like, he showed flashes, and then he had the job, had a couple of good games, but nothing crazy good. I think it's possible, and I don't really think that Hunt is that much of a presence that it's going to be an issue taking his job. I don't know. I think that he is a little bit more stable. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I pretty much hate all those third-round running backs.
Yeah. It's a tough class to look at. So, like, you would value Isaiah Crowell higher than Marshawn Lynch?
I do. Unless you like him, Romine.
I mean, you know I love Isaiah Crowell, so.
He's already, I mean, from that standpoint, he's already doomed. But, you know, the thing that has to be said for Crowell is that Duke Johnson is not going to take his carries, similar to the fact that Gio isn't going to take carries from either Hill or Mixon, whoever ends up being the starter there. They're different players. Like, Sproles is not legitimately going to take away carries in Philadelphia because that's just not the player that they are. So, you know, Crowell really has absolutely nothing behind him. So as long as he stays healthy, he's going to get the volume and will at least put together a decent season. I don't think it's going to be where you guys think it's going to be, but I still think that, like, it's kind of hard to argue what's around him.
You think Jalen Richards and DeAndre Washington is going to take carries away from Marshawn Lynch? Like, you think that they're good enough? They couldn't even really beat out Latavius Murray last year.
I think that the fact that we can name both of those guys and the fact that they're running backs, they're more primarily running backs, not necessarily just pass catchers. That in turn is the problem, because you already have these young guys that were still, even when they weren't doing well, were still given volume. And so can Lynch be better than Latavius Murray? Yes, he could, but I still think that it's going to be a nightmare. I don't think it's going to be clean cut. And I think that's the problem, is that it's just not, even if each of them gets 5 carries. Let's just say that each of them gets 5 carries a game. That's still 10 carries that are coming away. They were pretty even last year. I think that they're going to I think it's going to be a little more dispersed than you're thinking.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, man. You know what? Entitled to your opinion. Van Cleve, you got a guy to throw out there for we to talk about a little bit?
Ba-ba-doop-doop.
Zibba-dabba-doop-a-dabba-dabba-dabba-dabba-dabba.
The diction has fallen to the
Diction is gone. Van
Throw out
Cleve,
another
land
player?
Yeah, throw another player. I don't want to talk about.
You don't have a player yourself?
No, I have no players.
Boy.
I
Really
hate
let us down.
Oh, man.
He couldn't figure it out last night. He was still freaking out trying to figure out. That's why he got drunk tonight. Was because he just was like, I don't know what to do.
I overcomplicated it, clearly.
Yeah, you did. You
know who I don't think has enough love? You know who actually may surprise is Isaiah Crowell.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Not enough love?
Not enough love. I mean, he was going in like the 4th and 5th round of our draft.
Are you being facetious or are you being like
He went in the
serious
3rd
right now?
round. Middle of the 3rd round.
Yeah, he's going in the middle of the 3rd round. I think he's getting love.
Not enough love?
Not enough love.
You going to put him up there with Todd Gurley?
Todd Gurley. I mean, he's a starting running back.
Hey, wait, is that really your throw out here?
No, I just wanted to say it because I wanted to see you guys two fight, but no.
Yeah. So Van Cleve is just being a douche.
Oh, okay.
Clearly.
I mean,
Clearly.
Do you want somebody that could surprise, or you want somebody that?
You know what? Since Van Cleef can't give us a real player, Alex, why don't you give us somebody that's
Whoa,
going to be a
whoa,
bust?
whoa, whoa! You
Oh,
can't
No,
give us
shut
a
your
player at all.
shut your
You
mouth.
can't give us a player at
Shut,
all.
Wow.
shut your mouth, Van Cleef.
This is turning
I'm
into
the
a drunken
goddamn
brawl.
host. I will turn this ship around however I want.
Actually,
Listen to
you
all
can't.
the power.
Actually, you can't. Van Cleef has all the power.
No, Van Cleef. All Van Cleef does is hit live, and then he edits it. That's it.
Okay, Romine, tell me what you want.
He can't.
Oh, I need to know. Good or bad? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs down. Okay, guys. I'm gonna give you my possible Steve Slayton of this year.
Yes.
They had
Not the Steve
almost
Slayton award.
exact same stats, almost exactly the same, down to the fact that they had a ridiculously good average yards per carry. That's Jay Ajayi. And this is why I've got to tell you about this, is that now Jay Ajayi was looking amazing. I mean, flat out looks fantastic. The problem that I have with him is he has a very similar situation that we were just talking about with Jordan Howard. The problem is that they're not a great passing team. You know, Tannehill is not a great quarterback, and eventually teams adjust over the offseason. You're looking at, you know, Ajayi only started 12 games. He even didn't dress one of the games, didn't even travel with the team one game, and still ended up as an RB11. So, I mean, right now, I think you're looking at him as hopefully taking a next step and being a top 5. But what's scary about him, depending on where you get him, is the fact that you look at Steve Slayton. He was a top 4 or 5 pick in 2009. Ended up as RB36. So my biggest problem is just that I don't like his situation. He has a lot of talent, and I hope that he is good. I have a bad feeling. I feel like it's either going to be Jordan Howard or Jay Ajayi that flat out blows up your fantasy team.
Okay, so say that Jay Ajayi bombs it.
Okay.
Because that's the other side of the coin, right? Somebody's got to do something in Miami.
Do they? I mean,
they can't have no running back.
They were one of the worst playoff teams I've ever seen, except if it wasn't for the fact that Houston made the playoffs with one of the worst quarterbacks we've seen in a long time.
Sure.
I mean, we would be talking about how bad Miami was and still somehow made the playoffs. They were a terrible team. And, they couldn't get anything going on offense. So, except for Ajayi. I mean, I think single-handedly kind of got them into the playoffs. I have a worry about how out of nowhere he essentially came and blew up, and the fact that he's going in the top of the first, maybe even creeping up into or top of the second, maybe even creeping up into the first round. And like I said, I feel like in where the first round is 50-50, the two guys that I have on my radar that are absolutely terrifying to me is Jordan Howard and Jay Ajayi.
All right, Roman, you want my for real pick? Why are you muted? Oh.
Me?
Oh, there we go.
There we go, Roman. Pierre Garçon, somebody that I think that's going to rise this year that people are not drafting as high. Right now, he's the number 1 on the 49ers roster. I think he's being undervalued as a wide receiver, being number 1, because people feel that 49ers offense is not going to be efficient. It's not going to. They have no talent on that team, is what the people are saying. But he's reuniting with Kyle Shanahan, and when Pierre Garçon first went to Washington Redskins and Shanahan's system, he was excellent. He had 113 receptions, over 1,300 yards, 5 touchdowns. I think that's something to say for that. I think that Kyle Shanahan really likes Pierre Garçon, and you've seen how he handles number one wide receivers. You saw it in Atlanta with Julio Jones. Kyle Shanahan loves to go to that number one guy and loves to feed him and get the ball rolling with him. So I really think that Pierre Garcon's going to have a bigger year than people are expecting him and where he's going drafted at.
I mean, my biggest concern is just simply who's going to be throwing him the ball.
Brian Hoyer.
Ugh.
He's been
Brian,
fantasy relevant the last however many years.
He's been
Very
fantasy relevant off the bench.
No, I mean look at Houston when he was a starting quarterback
Off
when
the bench.
Nah, I don't know about
He
that.
he was not a starter until like 8 people got hurt.
No, he was. I think he maybe had one quarterback in front of him. It was a quarterback battle, and he started most of those games in that until he got injured.
Wasn't it Matt Schaub or something?
No, it was. Oh man, it was between him and I think was it Case Keenum.
No, because Brandon Weeden played a few games. He only okay. I guess I take it back. He started half the season. He started 9 games,
Yes.
19 touchdowns. But he still came off the bench. He's like Fitzgerald or Fitzpatrick. He's good off the bench, but when you give him a starting role, he's not that great.
But he started half the games, Alex.
Yeah,
so
no, but what I'm saying is that he's good when there's nothing to prove. Like when he is coming off the bench for the season, when he doesn't start the season as a starter, he does fairly well. He's like Fitzpatrick. And
Houston
then
had no other quarterback that year.
He's terrible.
Houston had no other quarterback that year. He had no competition basically until he had that starting role for half the season until he got injured. And look what he did to DeAndre Hopkins.
What are you talking about? He played the second half of the season. He didn't get injured in Houston.
Are you sure about that? Because I could have swore there was the game in India he got injured and they almost had to bring in a punter because they were on that's how many quarterbacks had went out that game.
Brian Hoyer, keep talking. I'll look up the.
Anyways, but he made DeAndre Hopkins very relevant, fantasy relevant.
I understand that. I understand.
He had a monster year to where the next season when they brought in Brock Osweiler, where he took a dump on people.
Yeah.
And so Brian Hoyer, if you go to every team he's been on, he's made his wide receivers relevant. And not only he's been relevant, but he's made his wide receivers fancy relevant. And so going to 49ers, going with Kyle Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan was able to do in Atlanta and in Washington with the passing game, I think that he's going to be able to and Kyle Shanahan is reuniting with Brian Hoyer because they were together in Cleveland, mind you. So I think that they have a relationship. I think that they know the offense. He's going to feel comfortable in the offense. I think that he's going to provide some fantasy relevance to where it's going to make Pierre Garcon very relevant. So I just think that he's going way, way late to where I think.
Where do you think that he should be drafted then? If you think he's being drafted way late.
I mean, we're picking him up at in the
the 6th or 7th round, maybe?
Yeah. Well, so with draft we did, he was picked up in the 8th. This last draft we did, he was picked up, I think, 6th or 7th round.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's a number 1 wide receiver, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So is Antonio Brown.
Hey, okay,
Yes,
so
he is.
we were both of us.
Emmanuel Sanders. Okay. What?
We were both wrong. He actually started that season. However, in week 2, he got benched for Ryan Mallett. And then he was out. Then Mallett got injured. Hoyer came back in. And then, he did miss a few games. Then he played throughout the season. And, I mean, I can't argue Hopkins. I mean, he did – get the ball to Hopkins and they had a great season. I don't know.
Here's for an example. So Pierre Garcon's going after some of the number 2 wide receivers. Dante Moncrief, Matavius Bryant.
You should not go after Moncrief. Moncrief's garbage.
Emmanuel Sanders. I don't know. We don't know what Terrell Pryor if he's. We don't know if Terrell Pryor's going to be number 1 or number 2 on that team. Devontae Adams, Michael Crabtree. Like those are all number 2s that are going way before Pierre Garçon. So I just feel that third, fourth round.
I mean, you're talking about number 1 for a garbage team, though.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like you're talking about, where I just talk down Devontae Adams, but the fact is that he's on a team that is a really good passing team.
Yeah, I understand it's a really good passing team, but it's got so many mouths to feed. Whereas Pierre Garçon's basically the only target there in San Francisco. They're going to be passing a lot because of that team is not very good. I just think that he's going to have a better year than where people are going to be drafting him at. And Martavis Bryant again. How many targets does Steelers have on that team? Dante Moncrief, same thing. Like all these guys are number 2s that have so many more mouths to feed than Pierre Garçon has. So I'm just saying he has better opportunity to do a better to be more court face relevant.
He's such a weird player because he could quietly get 100 catches, and then you would still be like, "Oh, he was terrible." He ended up with 100 catches. So he's
last
a
year
weird player.
Last year he went quietly over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
I just feel like Pierre Garçon, his ceiling this year is probably mid-range to low-end wide receiver 2 for fantasy. I don't see him doing any better than that. Like I feel like he'd be in that 18 to 24 kind of range as a ceiling.
I don't know.
He wants himself. He wants some Garçon. Some Garçon.
Garçon. I want some Garçon.
Get that Garçon.
We're starting to lose Romine, aren't we?
I mean, we're talking about Garçon. Really? Like,
wow.
All right, you bring up somebody, Romine.
Well, how much different really is Torrey Smith from Pierre Garçon?
Well, I mean, Garçon.
How many thousand-yard seasons have Torrey Smith has?
1. I don't know. How many's Pierre Garçon had?
Multiple ones.
4.
How many?
I would say
4.
I'm gonna look up.
Pierre Garçon's had 4. I'd be surprised. I didn't realize that.
He's actually had. He's had.
Wait, Roman, I smell a bet there. Torrey Smith versus Pierre Garçon.
Fuck you.
I'll definitely take.
Well, you're the one that's arguing for Torrey Smith.
That's true.
I'm just
by the
talking.
way.
I'm talking Torrey Smith from last year compared to Pierre Garçon this year.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
So, yeah, but it's a whole new system, Romine. It's a whole new regime there.
But how excited were you about Chip Kelly's system?
For a wide receiver, not very excited. For a running back, yeah.
I mean, Chip Kelly's system wasn't terrible for wide receivers.
But it wasn't like the
You were talking
greatest.
about you were talking about how many plays they were going to get off. I mean, I think you're putting an awful lot on his plate.
What do you mean an awful lot on his plate? You think?
I think you're putting the expectations way too high.
I'm just saying.
For a team that really has a very subpar system as far as quarterback, wide receivers, skill players. I feel like you're putting a lot of faith in Pierre Garçon.
I'm not calling him a number 1, overall or.
I mean, you just
first
called him a
round
number
draft
1. You just called him a number 1.
He is a number 1. Who else does he have that can be a number 1 on his receiving team?
No one. It's a garbage team.
I'm just saying he's a number 1. He's the best
San
receiver
Francisco?
on.
Did somebody
was
have
that?
San Francisco in that bet? Did anybody write those down?
I wrote him down, but I don't remember.
We have him on text. But okay, Roman.
I think I picked San Francisco, by the way. Sorry, go ahead, Van Cleef. Finish your thought.
I don't know, Roman. I'm just saying.
Where are you going?
I feel that he is going to finish higher than where he is being drafted. Is what I was trying to say. He is a number 1 on his team. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think the 5th or 6th round is fine for him. I don't think that he should be going any higher than that.
He's going in the 7th and 8th.
Oh my God, 7th instead of 6th? Holy shit! Sign me up. That's what I'm saying. It's I don't think it's that big a deal. I think it's fine. Whatever. If he's going to the 7th, that's great. I don't think he needs to be going much higher than that.
I think he's a great guy to target later in drafts like that. He's got upside to perform better than that.
Wait, was the whole thing that was about players who went bust or who's actually going to surprise you? And he's one of those players that surprised me.
I mean, it was bust or boom players. I wouldn't call him a boom.
Okay, what's considered as a boom player, Romain? Is it not a player that's going to finish higher than they?
It's somebody that's finishing better than their draft position. Essentially, like somebody that is like going to be considerably better. Oh my God, he's going to finish 5th instead of 6th round value. Holy shit!
I never said that. I said he's going to finish higher than that.
Angry, belligerent man.
I'm not belligerent. I'm just saying. Like,
no, you are being belligerent.
Brent, give us a
arguing nonsense.
How is that nonsense?
Because you're just babbling
you're saying that he's going to finish like 2 rounds higher than he's being drafted.
No,
that's what you're saying.
That's not what I said.
Oh my God, how is that not what you're saying? Am I ridiculous then?
Yes, you won't even let me finish my sentence. That's how drunk you are.
No, I'm not. No, clearly not. Your sentence is stupid.
He's just enjoying the fact that he's like, I'm way better at arguing than he is, and so he's just enjoying the fact that that he has some sort of like, I don't know. He's just glad that he's not arguing with me right now, Van Cleve. He's just going after you.
Van Cleve, or
because by this point right now, if I was in the argument, I would have already had him not only make 1 bet, but probably 2 terrible bets, so he was going to lose.
Why don't you go ahead and take a side then, Alex?
Should I take a side of Pierre Garçon?
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. That's why I'm not arguing.
Oh, that's weird. I'm belligerent and drunk, though. Holy shit.
No.
Oh, my God. I'm out of control.
I mean, if one has to talk about himself being out of control, let's go.
Clearly.
Garçon. One of the most boring wide receivers in the NFL anyway, regardless.
I mean,
he bores me.
He could be something. He's the number 1 wide receiver on the team, but I mean, I just don't think he's that great. Even if he had an awesome season, I just don't think San Francisco is going to do shit this year. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of boring. Brent, do you have an exciting player?
Man.
Let's see here. Let's talk about the Washington running game. I think Rob Kelly sucks.
Yes.
Okay.
You know who's better?
Who?
Samaje Perine. That guy's going to blow up this year. He is the next Michael Turner of fantasy football. The guy is a little chunker that's going to run and get you points.
Michael Turner, huh? Why?
Yeah.
Why is he Michael Turner?
That's the comp I've been hearing for
Samaje that's what
Perine.
I've been hearing too.
Lay it out there then.
Okay, the guy runs between the tackles with power. He pushes the pack. The guy has above average receiving skills. He's great at pass blocking. He's better than Robert Kelly at everything, I think.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think he's just better, and he's going to win the job outright. I think people are drafting Rob Kelly way too high, and you should reserve that draft pick for someone better.
I mean, to be
fair,
I
wouldn't draft Rob Kelly.
To be fair,
No,
you're drafting Perine way too high.
You're probably right, because I do believe in his talent, and I do believe he's going to be the starting running back. I don't believe in Rob Kelly. That's why I don't think people should be drafting him at all.
At all?
Unless it's way late. I mean, clearly it's still early in these mock drafts and everything, but right now I'm not drafting Rob Kelly at all, because I think Perine is going to take it over.
So, like 6th or 7th round for Kelly? You think it's way too early?
Way too early.
What? That's ridiculous. That is okay. You're saying that a starting running back should not be drafted in the first half of the draft.
He's only a starting running back by title and not by talent, and I know that Perine is going to take that position over. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind.
Then why was he drafted so late? If he is so good, if he is just like the next thing, why was he drafted so late?
Because there were better running backs out there, and teams didn't need running backs that early. So, I mean, Washington traded up to get Perine too.
I would beg
in the
to
fourth
differ.
round.
Fourth round. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't get good back. Jordan Howard is out of. But to be completely honest, there were a lot of teams that needed running back. Philadelphia is one of them. Did P. Ryan get drafted before Jamal Williams?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was one of the first picks in the fourth round, I'm pretty
But
sure.
what I'm saying is that there were some super needy teams. Washington wasn't a super needy team. So
Yet they they moved up in the draft to get this guy.
In the fourth round. That
And
doesn't
Rob
moving
Kelly
up
was
into
an
the fourth
undrafted
round
free
doesn't
agent.
mean anything. That means nothing. Okay, moving up into the first or the second round, that means something. Moving around in the back half of the draft, that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that you are so enamored with a guy that you barely give anything up to move up in the latter half of the draft.
Like Brent's saying,
They still moved up. They
Rob
found
Kelly-
other teams that may have been interested. So
and
they
Rob
moved
Kelly
up in
was
the draft to get the guy they wanted.
Rob Kelly was an undrafted rookie last year.
That's fine, but what I'm saying is that Brent is saying that he's going to win the job outright, and that he is a basically a soon-to-be stud if he was that good. I think that there's a overinflation of how good this guy is because
Alex,
he has opportunity, but the fact is I don't think that he is that amazing.
But Alex, you've said that players drafted in the first 3 rounds have a clear path to starting. Is it that much different from the third to the fourth round?
I'm just saying that they're not I don't think that he is as amazing as what is being said because Brent is flat out saying that he's ready to start right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if P. Ryan's
In that
great,
situation,
but,
of course.
It's not. I don't think it's crazy to say it. I think that Kelly was subpar.
I agree. I'm not saying
Except against Philly.
That what I'm saying is that how you're projecting him is that he is basically right there to be top 10.
No, on that team, I think he's going to outperform Rob Kelly, win the position outright, and then become a starting running back.
But
that's why I'm saying I'm not drafting Rob Kelly as high as he's going.
When do you think that P. Ryan's going to be starting by then?
I think he could be the starter by day one.
So do you think that he should be drafted in front of Kelly?
Yes.
In startup drafts even, too?
Yes.
What round?
This sounds like Evan Royster all over again.
Ooh.
Draft P. Ryan in the 7th or 8th round. I wouldn't draft Rob Kelly until maybe one of the last few rounds for skill position players.
Van Cleve, I know you're mad about the whole Pierre Garçon thing. Do you have a take? Do you have a take on this Rob Kelly talk?
I'm actually not mad about that, but no, I'm good.
Sorry, so sorry. You don't have a take at all. 0 takes.
I believe P. Ryan is going to be able to take that position over. I would wait to draft both of these because that running back situation is still unclear. You still have Matt Jones on that team. And I know he's nothing that's been special to talk about, but you still have 2 other running backs that have established themselves there. But I still think that P. Ryan's talent does outweigh the other 2 guys. So I think that he will eventually take it over. I'm not sure day one or not. But I do think P. Ryan will eventually take that position over. And I think he has a better path than most of these other running backs that may have been drafted in the 4th round or a little bit higher.
Yeah, and
for example, like Alvin Kamara, I think that he has an easier path to starting running back than Alvin Kamara.
Sure.
Who has drafted higher.
Like you said, that I worry a little bit more about Rob Kelly's starting. Alex, I feel worse about drafting Rob Kelly early than I do about drafting Samaje Perine. Does that make sense? I don't want to spend a top 9 pick on Rob Kelly when there is that kind of
top
worry.
9, first round?
Top 9 rounds,
Oh,
not like top 9 pick.
okay. I was gonna say, well, he's not going that high.
I'm not taking him that high.
No, top like 9 rounds.
The one thing that I'm just worried about is I don't know. Is there an issue with Washington though? Like they haven't really gotten anybody in that position. You know, it's been several years since they've had somebody that's been able to, you know, like be dominant. So is there something wrong with Washington?
Could be.
Is P. Ryan good enough? If there is something wrong with Washington, is he good enough to overcome whatever has been holding them back?
I mean, I think we're putting a lot of faith in a player that was drafted in the 4th round. I agree with you on that. Like, I don't think that he's somebody that you need to be writing off the farm to buy, but I think he has a point. I think that Rob Kelly's being drafted way too early. And that if you're able to wait and P. Ryan's available in the 9th, 10th round, I think that could be a steal. Because it could be somebody that could be way outperforming their ADP. Like, it could be a Rob Kelly situation from last year where somebody is coming in and taking that job over.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just what I think.
I mean, okay. Here's the thing though that I have to ask is that looking at these stats, Rob Kelly put up similar stats to Isaiah Crowell. So what's the difference?
I don't know. I mean, Rob Kelly has a player that is potentially going to push him for carries.
But that's not the argument though. The argument is
it
that
kind of
Crowell
is.
is like about to become like the greatest thing that's ever happened.
So who's pushing Crowell for carries?
That's not what the argument is, though.
I'm just saying, who's pushing him?
It's not that your argument has never been, oh well, there's nothing around him. It's that like, oh, he's gonna. He's got a lot of talent. He's got all this stuff. He has. I'm saying the stat line is very similar.
I mean, that's very wrong because a lot of what we've said is that Isaiah Crowell, they didn't bring anything else in. Cleveland didn't do anything to push him out of that position. Washington drafted somebody in the 4th round to kind of compete with Rob Kelly. Like, I don't think that that's a fair argument.
But at the same time, I would say that the 4th round is somebody that you compete with, but I don't necessarily think that it's you drafted that person to take over the position.
I just don't think there's that big of a difference between the 3rd and the 4th round. Like,
well, even a 3rd round is kind of the medium point.
Yeah, but you pulled those stats up that said that 3rd round players have a clear shot at starting. Like, you went through a whole list of players that were drafted in the 3rd round.
I mean, there's at some points there's what. From a 3rd round position to a 4th round position, you can have as many as almost 60 players go through. So
right, the beginning of the 3rd to the end of the 4th. Sure.
Yeah. So there is a difference. I mean, like all I'm saying is that when you pull up Rob Kelly's numbers, a guy that both the two people that are the highest on Crowell, I'm looking at a very similar stat line.
Sure. In the year stat line, and that's fine. Like, I get it. But what I'm saying is that Crowell doesn't have anybody pushing him for those carries.
Yeah.
Like, who's competing with him? Duke Johnson? You know what I mean?
I don't even know who the backup for Crowell is, like, other than Duke Johnson.
I know. Brent, you're the stats guy. You got somebody out there? Is there somebody pushing Isaiah Crowell for those carries?
No.
Good.
No, there's not. That's why Isaiah Crowell is since.
No, you dumped him last episode. You said that I gave him that tender loving
I only
touch,
dumped him because you
and that-
loved him so much.
I do like him. Like I think that he's got that potential. So, well, I can clearly tell that Van Cleve is disgusted with the show. So, on that note, maybe we should wrap this bad boy up. It kind of went off the chains a little bit. We didn't really talk about what we had wanted to talk about originally. Alex's phone is staring me right in the face right now. So
Yeah.
there
I was
you are.
looking at any players. that-
Isaiah Crowell stat lines.
No, I'm just looking at like these guys that I've never heard of. These guys that are running backs for the Browns.
Who you
Watch,
got?
One of these guys is going to end up being like a top
Yeah.
5.
Who are they?
That are currently on the roster. George Atkins III. He has a pretty good build. I mean, 6'1", 220. Crowell. Matthew Days, 5'8", 205. Nah. Duke Johnson. Terrence McGee, 5'9", 220. And that's it.
That's give me Isaiah Crowell all day over Rob Kelly. I'll say that much right now.
I'm
Matt-
just saying.
Matt Days was a 7th-round rookie.
Clear shot. All right. Well, this show may have been kind of a clusterfuck, but thanks for stopping out and listening to us. We appreciate it. You know where to find us. 4 Horsemen Pod. That's the number 4 Horsemen Pod on Twitter. Send us emails, 4horsemenpod@gmail.com. Get out there. Find us. We're here for you. Till next week. Peace out.